Hey folks, welcome to another Triple T Thursday. For those just joining us, that's tools, tips, and talk. We will discuss info for the knife maker. So I had a company reach out to me, Vivor, asking if I wanted to review one of their products. It actually was a product I wouldn't use. So I looked on their website. They have a ton of products. And one of the products that interested me was a microscope for doing jewelry and engraving. And as many of you know, I do some engraving and I've been wanting one of these. So they were kind enough to send it to me to review. So not only am I going to review this, I'm also going to get into some wire inlay. So we're going to see some of that. Let's take a look, folks. So I pulled it out of the box. The base is quite large, much larger than I imagined, and it bolts to the table. So I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do there, because I don't think I want this on my table all the time. Yeah, I may have to create a little removable stand for this. Okay, so I've got the microscope all set up. I've decided to set it up on this table just because I've screwed this thing down into the table. The nice thing about this is it just kind of slides out of the way. So I still have this whole table, which is great. And it comes with this little dust cover, so I'll probably just leave the microscope set up and just slide it out of the way. So let's talk about the adjustments on this. So there's a whole bunch of adjustments. The whole thing will go up and down, like that. Okay, so you can adjust the height of the whole thing. There's a height adjustment, so actually this adjusts this gimbal ball here, so you can adjust the angle and then you can just straighten that out. And then this whole thing, based on this, you can slide up and down. And there's a lock somewhere for that. I think this thing locks it. And then you can lock it. The key here is that it's got a very narrow focal distance, so you want to, like at first when I did this, I was trying to focus here, but that's actually too far. So once you're going to be using this on something like a ball vise, so you really need to make sure it's focusing here. So it took a bunch of things. Also, the instructions for this are not that great. The instructions, it's one sheet of paper, are mainly for putting the base together. It doesn't actually tell you how to put the two lenses, because you have to put the two eyepieces in here, and there's two little set screws that you have to remove, and then these things come in, and then these things will go back and forth for the distance, and then there's these that will focus the bottom. So there's all kinds of different adjustments that you kind of need to get right. The other thing is that I'm pretty tall. So the stool that I'm sitting on that you guys don't see is actually pretty tall. So that's forcing the microscope up. If I had a stool that was a little lower, I could put the microscope down a little bit and then just change the focus a little bit, which I still might do, because I'm right at the end of the focal distance here, because I had the microscope up so high so that I didn't have to crunch down. So some things that I'm going to work on. But right now I can look through, if I get it set back up here, I can look through the scope. Okay. I've been messing with it, but look through the scope and I can see everything, and my focal area is about that big, which is pretty good. It's most of what I would be engraving. So pretty happy with it. It's got all the adjustments that I think I need. So I'm going to get this all dialed in, and then we're going to do some engraving. So here I have my ball vise, and I've got a piece of mild steel set up in it with just a line drawn on it over top of some layout fluid. What we're going to be doing is just doing a thin line and doing some silver inlay. The techniques I'm showing you guys today, these came from Kyle Royer on his course. So I'm really just repeating that stuff for you guys and showing you with the setup that I have. I'm using a Lindsay air graver. That's this little guy. It's a pneumatic hand engraver. I've done kind of an intro to engraving, just engraving basics. So I'll put a link up in the corner if you want to go watch that. The tools, the cutters, the gravers as they're called, we're going to be using are going to be these. First one, this is a flat, kind of a knife edge tool. That's what we're going to be using for cutting the straight groove. Then we're going to be using this one, which is just a dovetailing. It's just basically just a flat edge to dovetail the insides. And then this is just a piece of brass rod we're going to use to push the silver into the groove. We have this pure silver wire here that we're going to be using for this. And we'll get to that after, once we have the little channel engraved in there. So we're going to start with the cutting tool. I'm going to cut a line just on the side of this so I can still see it, and go over it a little bit, and you'll see what I'm going to do. And unfortunately, I can't put the camera through the microscope so you guys see what I see, but bear with me. I'm going to start the cut by angling the graver pretty steep, and as it digs in, then I'll flatten it out and let it start to form the channel. Once the chip grows a little bit, I'll end it just so I can still see the line, and then I'll just restart. Now that I've got the channel cut, I'm going to go back and just make it a little deeper. We want it about 2/3 of the height of the wire. So I did a second line only because the first one I screwed up a little bit. I'm not used to using the microscope, and I had the graver on a little bit of an angle. So we're actually going to use this small one as our what we're going to fill with the silver inlay. So now I'm going to switch the graver to just the undercut tool. So now what we're going to do is put little dovetails so that the bottom is kind of a rhombus. It's got a dovetail in it, and that's what's going to keep the silver inside instead of it just popping out. So now I'm going to take a little bit of this silver wire. I'm going to just heat it up to anneal it. You got to be careful you don't overheat it. Okay, and we're going to switch the head on this. Now I've got the silver set. I'm just going to cut off the excess, and now we're going to smooth it out. So now I'm just going to take this over to the grinder on 120 grit and just take a quick little slice over that and show you what that looks like. So here's the line that we just did. This one I actually did previous. It was just covered by the blue layout fluid. And then there's the channel that we didn't fill in. And you can see as I spin it, you see how nice and shiny the silver is. So that's as easy as it gets. It just takes a little practice to be able to do these channels and do the dovetails. I'm still no expert at it. You can see there's a little bit of gapping at either end, so I need to work on that. But I think I am ready to do gold inlay, because I actually have some gold ready to do inlay on a future knife. So folks, that's how the gold inlay is going to work. I hope you guys got something out of this. If you really want to watch this in detail, I suggest you go sign up for Kyle Royer's Knife Maker Plus course. He goes into this in a lot of detail. I'm really just giving you guys an intro. So as a review of the microscope, I'm extremely happy with it. For $500, this microscope exceeded my expectations. It is a really good buy. I would definitely recommend, if you're looking for a microscope to do engraving, go check this one out. These can run into the thousands, folks. $5,000–6,000 for a microscope. So to get one for 1/10 of that is amazing. And me, I'm a pretty novice engraver. It does everything that I need, so I'm very happy with it. So go check out VVOR for either a microscope or their other products. There are links down in the description if you want to pick one of these up. Thanks, folks. We'll see you on the next one.